Because people are coming now, so I'm entering them. Good morning, boys and girls. It's October and we are back with our literature festival. This time it's very different. Yes, it's gone virtual, a new experience, and we are very excited here. Today is the day one. We have Usha Pandit waiting for the session. Let me introduce Usha Pandit right away. And we are very excited here. Today Can you fix that? One. We have Okay. Usha is a teacher of 3 decades, an author of 40 books, an education consultant to top schools in the country, a much sought after teacher trainer, I can vouch for that, a thought leader, and a public speaker. She has taught in 4 countries and holds 2 master degrees in English and education. She is also a champion of gifted education in India, runs a global award-winning CSR program at Tata Memorial Hospital for children with cancer, and is a successful blogger and YouTuber. So today, Usha is also the author of a very famous book, Writing with Ease, a very popular reference book. A very popular reference book, which is with students that, sorry, I'm very sorry, I can't see, but it contains processes on writing for a variety of genres, clear how to write strategies, exhaustive word list, and guidelines for creative writing in English. Without any much time taken, I'm going to hand it over to Usha right away. Usha, over to you. This was a bad idea.
Thank you. So good morning, everyone, and thank you to Shubha Srinivas, my friend, and also to Purple Stone Publishing, who have invited me here to speak to you this morning. It's a huge pleasure indeed. I speak to teachers all the time, so for me to talk to students is like a treat, right? So I'm really, really happy to be here amongst you. I believe there are going to be 100 students and no teachers, no parents, no adults, just all of you and me. So that's an extra special treat. So today I'm going to do some work with you in writing, okay? I'm going to use my book, Writing with Ease, and I'm going to teach you 2 genres. One is descriptive writing and the other is argument, okay? So let's start right away so that we don't waste any more time. So let me share the PPT with you. There you go. And I'll put it on a slideshow. Excellent. So the title of today's talk is "The Pen is Mightier Than the Sword." I hope all of you have heard this. And indeed, the pen is mightier than the sword, because the pen is all about thoughts and about influence and how it changes the minds of people, as opposed to the sword that can just kill you, but can never get your consent, can never get your values, can never get your approval, nothing it can get. It can only kill people. So therefore, the pen is mightier than the sword. And the pen, my dear friends, is highly feared even by the most villainous emperors and potentates and dictators fear the pen. So the pen stands for the poet and the writer and the intellectual. Okay, so that's a great way to start your literary festival, because you are going to celebrate the pen, I think, for the next week or so. So let's just very quickly look at what writing is all about, because it's very important to have an umbrella view. An umbrella view means you take a look at the big picture and you ask whether you know what it's about. Otherwise, you just start working in small pockets, you don't see it. So the ingredients of writing are ideas, obviously, words, vocabulary, and structure, which is your sentences, your grammar, and all of those little things, your syntax, your sentences, etc. So unless you have these three bits properly, you are not going to be able to do very well with writing. Especially ideas. We do not take a lot of trouble with the ideas. We do a brainstorming, but we somehow haven't been able to show you how to ideate. So today we are going to look at that also. So it's a very, very, useful lecture for you, this one. So pay attention. And words, of course, is vocabulary. So the descriptive pyramid. So I'm going to show you a strategy on how to write. Okay. If you write like this, all of you are going to do very well. So suppose I come and say to you, I saw a man. Can you see the man? No, you can't. You can, I've just told you. I've told you something. I saw a man. Doesn't mean anything. I haven't, you can't see the man at all. So there's no point in me telling you something. So I shall add a little more and I'll say I saw a tall man. And now you can actually see the height of the man. And you know that he's tall, he's not short. Otherwise, he could have been any man, isn't it? So I've given you one extra detail there. And then I saw a tall man in a big overcoat. Now what have I done? I've added clothes. Now you know that the man is not in a business suit. The man does not seem to be in raincoat. The man does not seem to be in a tattered beggar's clothes. So you have an idea of who this man might be. Just by saying big overcoat. See what we have done. We've actually pinpointed the economic status of the man to some extent. I saw a tall man in a big gray tattered overcoat. Now I put tattered and I put gray. Now both these are indicating his economic status. It's telling us that he was a man who was probably poor. This is what literature does, isn't it? When you read literature, you should be reading it like this. So when you read the description of a person in a short story, you should actually be looking at what is the inference. What are we inferring from it? I saw a tall, gangly man in a big tattered overcoat. Now I've added the size of the man and the clothes of the man. Waiting near a tree, jumping into a train, begging on the street. Now I made him do something. Do you see how I'm building the sentence? So this is what you should do in your descriptions. You should build the sentence. Now I've given the man an action. Waiting near a tree, jumping into a train, begging on the street. That's what I've done. So now the minute I pinpoint his action, the man again changes. If he's waiting under a tree, who is he waiting for? If he's jumping into a train, where is he going? He's begging on the street. Did he get anything? These are some of the questions that will come into your mind. And this is how you create curiosity in your readers. I saw a tall, gangly man with an eye patch. Now I put an eye patch on him. When you put an eye patch on him, what happens? What does an eye patch mean? Is he a pirate? Is he somebody who's lost his eye? Is he somebody with his eyes that are just hurt, temporary, and the doctor has given him an eye patch? It can be anything. In an oversized gray tattered. Now, why is it oversized? Is he so poor that he cannot have his own size? Has it been given to him by an older brother? Is he somebody who goes to the poor houses in order to eat food? So that word oversized gives me several ideas again. Or he could have robbed it from somewhere. So there you go. And then waiting patiently near an oak tree. What have I done now? Now I have added an adverb. How was he waiting? Patiently. Suppose he was waiting impatiently. What happens? The whole thing changes, isn't it? He's waiting patiently, then he's got lots of time. He must be waiting slowly for his friend to come. or he maybe landed early, if he's waiting impatiently, it means that there is some urgency. So the way he waits will make a difference. Suppose he was waiting nervously. What does it mean? It means maybe he is in some debt, and maybe there are some loan sharks who are going to come and attack him. So he's waiting nervously. They've called him. They said, come under the oak tree at 4 o'clock and we want our money back. If you don't come, something will happen to you. So see, this is how we build. By just putting that one word, everything has changed. Similarly, jumping hurriedly. So where is he hurrying in such a tearing hurry? Begging foolishly on a deserted street. So there's nobody on the street and he's begging foolishly. So therefore, you have, what have we done? We put an action and we've said how he's begging, how he's jumping, how he's waiting. This is what you do. This is the trick, guys, to write amazing descriptions. Okay. So let's analyze it. What have we done? We've added size, we've added clothing, we've added action, we've added accessory, which was the eye patch, and we've added attitude. Now you change these things and you will find that automatically the man will keep changing. So when you describe, you're like a mini god, you know, you get to create the character, you get to change the character, and that's extremely empowering. So therefore, descriptions. This is how you do your descriptions. Choosing the right word, blot brilliant. This is the other thing. So you'll find that you will have boring words like big, bad, beautiful, good. It doesn't, what does it mean? Big, what does it mean? How big? I don't know. For an ant, something like a cell phone might be gigantic. But for me, it is not. I hold it in the palm of my hand. So how big is another word that we must change, the word big. And instead of that, write gigantic, cavernous, immeasurable, inordinate, elephantine. The minute you write like this, any examiner looking at your paper is going to be very, very impressed because they are such good words. It was bad. Another boring word, bad. Instead of that, say it was defective. Now, if you say my cell phone was bad, what does it mean? Do you give it a beating? Obviously not. So therefore, defective would be the right word there. Questionable. So his character was questionable. You don't write everything. You don't say the cell phone was questionable. You see what I'm saying? So there is something called usage. Now you'll ask me, Miss, how do I get usage? Since you are in the 9th and 10th, I'm going to give you a very good tip. Read the newspaper, any part of the newspaper. It can be sports, it can be Bollywood, it can be politics, it can be any kind of story. Read it aloud. For 20 to 30 minutes every day, just read the newspaper aloud. The newspaper has got a lot of vocabulary, has got a lot of academic language, and automatically your vocabulary will pick up and you will start using better words. Trust me, you can't do it for 3 days or 4 days and say, oh, it's not happening. You should do it for 300 days. And I guarantee you, your vocabulary, your grammar, everything will improve. But you should hear what you're reading aloud. Okay. So defective, questionable, and then you'll get all this. You won't say questionable cell phone. You will say questionable character because you're reading so much that it gets into you. People who are very good readers, whether you're reading storybooks, whether you're reading anything, it doesn't matter. For them, you don't need this. But for those who don't read storybooks, who find it hard to do that, read so much, read 20 minutes of that newspaper aloud every day. And your current affairs will get better. Look at that. You won't have to know, you don't have to be asked who is the prime minister, who's the chief minister. You know all of it because you're reading it every day in the paper. So paper is a good habit. Okay. Ghastly, shocking. It was beautiful, exquisite, splendid, enchanting, wondrous, magnificent. Nice words. Magnificent sunrise. A wondrous sunrise. It's better than saying beautiful sunrise. It was good, delightful, unspoiled, virtuous, excellent, proficient, beneficial, advantageous. See, strong, nice words. So remember, Don't use blah words, use brilliant words in your writing, and automatically people will be impressed. The other thing you must remember is to use your senses. See, we know the world through our five senses. And what are they? The sight and the taste and the touch and the nose and the sounds. So if you want to describe something, and if you can use 2 or 3 senses while describing it. So if you're describing a river and I say the gurgling river, then I'm using sound. If I say the sapphire river, then I'm using color. If I say the fish odorous, suppose I use 2 words like a compound adjective, the fish odorous river, then it means it's got a fishy smell. Or it can have a chemical smell if you're talking about the environment. So you can do this and you can touch the water and tell me whether the touch was smooth. If you say satiny waters of the river, then it will be a very calm river. Suppose if you say the stinging waters of the river, then it will be a river that is slapping my hand because it's in full flow. So I can change that river by using senses. You see how much you can change in your writing. You become very, very important. So then don't let other people tell you what kind of river you should write. You decide what river you want to write. And that you can do with your senses. You can do your senses. With your senses, you can describe maybe your mother. You can describe somebody who's very close to you. You can describe because you constantly hug them. So you know what they smell like. You don't know what they taste like. Nobody tastes people. But generally, if you're talking about food now, then taste becomes very important. Smell becomes very important. Sight also becomes very important, isn't it? Sometimes the food, if it doesn't look a good color, you don't feel like eating it. So therefore, all those senses, and of course, touch and taste, all these are very important. So therefore, words create understanding. Words create feelings. So if I say something was lip smacking, if I'm talking about pani puri and I say it was tangy and it had just the right amount of chaat masala and it was so delectable. If I say that, then you feel like eating it yourself. So very often when people describe chocolate, you look at Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So if he describes chocolate in a particular way, then you feel like eating it. You say, I have to eat it now. Because don't advertisements do that? Advertisements do that all the time. They describe it in such a way that you want to eat Maggi noodles now because it's so tasty to read. While reading, you get the taste, right? So therefore, that's important. Use them to create images. So you can create a lot of great images. If I say I went to an amazing forest, I have to describe it. Otherwise, you cannot see the forest. I'm only telling you it's amazing. But then what's amazing for me may not be amazing for you. It can provoke. So if you use a certain word, then people get angry. People stop being your friend. So many things can happen because you use the wrong word, right? You can influence people. That's why I said the pen is mightier than the sword, because people get influenced by what you are saying. They believe what you are saying. They get up and protest. So slogans will do that. They'll get up and protest along with you. And if everybody protests, then even the mightiest of emperors have to bow down and say, okay. So that's what it does, the words. They're very scared of poets. Poets frighten people because poets are so powerful, their words, right? You hear Rabindranath Tagore, you hear Sarojini Naidu. You can understand why people during the independence movement got up and fought for them. And they inspire. So this is another big way, guys. So make sure that you have words for sight, sound, smell, etc. Now, if you look at color, so this is what the book that I have written gives you senses. It'll give you a whole bunch of colors, huge number of color words. And for color, by just substituting a primary or a secondary color, you instead of using a primary, you use a secondary color or you use a tertiary color. I hope you know what colors are. You're in the 9th and 10th. You should know what primary colors are. And then secondary, the normal colors where we say orange, blue, green are your primary colors. So don't say that. Instead of that, if you say the aquamarine, if you say the aquamarine sea, it sounds so much better than saying the blue sea or the green sea. See, the sapphire, amethyst, vermilion, beryl, lilac, fuchsia, these are all shades. And if you don't know what these shades are, just look them up on the net. It will actually give you a band of color and it will show you what these colors are. If you say ebony instead of black, her ebony hair, suddenly the lady becomes beautiful and exotic. Ebony hair sounds fantastic, sounds strong actually. Instead of just saying her black hair, which is like boring. Black, okay, everybody's hair is black. Or you describe the color of the eyes, okay? And you say you could have, what kind of eyes shall we give her? You can't give them some horrible color. If you say strawberry eyes, it will become a horror story. Because imagine somebody having strawberry eyes, you'll get frightened, no? So therefore, you can use color to very many places. You can make them beautiful. You can make them quite scary also. So color is a very strong and good way, not just to describe flowers and fruits and birds and all that. That's all good, but you can also describe clothes, you can describe, and colors, by the time you come to the 9th and 10th, they are symbols. So when you say red, what is red? Red is a rose, and then red is also the heart, and red is also danger. So it's got connotation. This is what poets do. They use colors in such a way that it has extra meaning sticking to it. And that is what makes it amazing. Okay. So color, guys, is a very, very good and powerful tool. Smell, words of smell. So the several words for what you want to talk about. You can't just say it smelled good, it smelled bad, it smelled nice, it smelled tasty. These are all baby words, what you do in kindergarten. You want solid, good words. And how will you get it if you don't have words to work with? So you need a bunch of words to work with. So what do you have? For smell, what do you have? You have acidic, acrid, aromatic. So some are good, some are not good, some are neutral. But each smell has got a particular uniqueness. You know what? If you had this with you, what you should be doing? You should be saying more like moldy, like what? So what has a moldy smell? Clothes that have been kept in the cupboard without opening it for, let us say, through the rainy season will have a moldy smell. When you open it, the cupboard had a moldy smell, isn't it? What would have a sour taste or a sour smell? Let us say if the milk has been kept outside for a long time and it's completely spoiled, if you smell it, it's got a sour smell. You can actually smell the flavor. It actually comes into your tongue, the smell. That kind of sour smell. So if you just take words and play around with them, you'll get fantastic, you'll get an idea of what it's like, the smell, you'll experience it, and you'll also be able to use it. So actively engage with these words. Don't just use these words as, words, okay, just throw it somewhere. You should not be like that. You should enjoy your writing and your words. Don't take it like, oh, I have to learn so many words. You don't. Say, I have to enjoy so many words. That's how you should think. Okay. So if I say something was damp or something was earthy, it all has got a certain special smell. Reeking. Reeking is a smell that will stay in your nose for a long time. Like onions, for example, will reek, or garlic will have a reeking kind of a pungent flavor, which is not very pleasant. If it's not fresh, it will reek of a garlicky smell. So therefore, you can have good smells, or what you call pleasant smells, and unpleasant ones. Let's look at beautiful words. Okay. This is another one that I love, because if you just use these words, your writing automatically becomes better. Imagine. So you've got words like glisten. Instead of shine, say her eyes glistened. or the vase glistened. Instead of using shine. Shine is boring because shining is boring. The glistening moon, see, automatically it will become beautiful. Instead of glass, you say chalet, or you say goblet. The goblet, or in Harry Potter, for example, you know, those kind of things. Blossom, flower. Instead of saying flower, say blossom. Instead of saying evening, say dusk. Instead of saying drizzle, instead of saying rain, say drizzle. So see, the minute you change it to these beautiful words, automatically everybody wants to read. Everyone can see the picture. Everyone says, oh, wow, it's so beautiful. Glimmer, moss, sunshine, violet, vanilla, whisper, velvet. Lovely words, lovely words. You can use it in any descriptions that you want to use, and your writing will automatically become super. Okay, I believe you me. There are lots and lots of words in the book. I've chosen some for you. How to describe a setting? The other thing we need to do is to describe places, right? Now, if you look at the two pictures, you've got a sea that seems to be calm, but it seems to be natural. There are gray clouds on top. The sea seems to be not really calm. It seems to be a little turbulent, isn't it? And then there are mountains on the other side, a completely natural scene. And in the second picture, you seem to have a boat, and you seem to have, it's like a shore where there are lots of buildings, and I'm sure there's a lot of activity. There are fishermen, and there are people selling souvenirs, and it might be a tourist spot. So it's very busy. These two settings are completely different. You would never be alone in that second setting, but in the first one can be quite scary if you're all alone and there's a storm coming onto the sea. So therefore, settings are very important. When you look at a setting, ask yourself, what kind of a story would I write with this picture? If I had that stormy sea, what sort of a story should I write? Should I write a mystery story? Should I write an adventure where I got caught in the storm and I was really frightened and I was in danger of being drowned? So your setting will tell you what is the genre. Your setting will tell you what kind of a story you should write. Your setting will expect you to describe the sea. See, again, you will need your senses and you will need all of those things. So therefore, setting is an extremely important business. A scuffle. Suppose you are going to, in any story, often you have a fight. So you have what is called a scuffle with action words. Show, don't tell. So don't say, I got hit. Tell me what exactly, how did you get hit? Did the creature strike you? Were you slapped? Were you cuffed? Cuff is to give you one rough knock like that. Were you punched, trashed, drubbed, hooked, smashed, pummeled? Now the words are so strong that you kind of get the idea of how badly he hit you. Otherwise, I don't know, you just say he hit me, or the man hit the dragon. You have no idea how badly the dragon was hit. But if you say clobbered it on its head with a big mace, then I know what sort of hit he got, hit the dragon took. So therefore, these words are again very useful, what we call action words. Action words is also when you dodge. So you might dodge the dragon, and therefore you scupper, you evade, you sidestep, you shun, you bypass, you circumvent. If it's coming directly at you, you quickly move away and you circumvented the dragon, and it did not get to hit you. Instead of fall, now you might perhaps you're being chased by a tiger and you are running and you fell. How did you fall? Did you drop? Did you plunge into the ravine? Maybe there was a mountain and you fell down. How did you fall? That's the question. Maybe there's a sea below and you decided to fall rather than go into the jaws of the tiger. So you can say how you fell. You can say how something was lifted. Also you can do. So all those are your blah words. Hit, dodge, fall, lift, fly, boring words. But if you say, instead of fly, if you say I soared, or I flew, or I floated, or I navigated, or I jetted, or I dashed, it has got a certain speed that is sticking to that word. So therefore, those are also great words to have. So guys, words are very, very important. Words are very, very powerful. All the writers who are going to talk to you in the next few days are going to be working with this kind of words, right? So it's a good thing to look at their books and find out what kind of words have they used. A lot of your learning is sitting in the writing. So if you look at your textbooks and you've got an adventure story, check out what are the action words they've used. Which words did they use? It's a very, very good way to study. Grammatically yours. Now I'm giving you a bunch of words that are very useful. So you have adjectives, abstract nouns, similes and metaphors, rigorous verbs, and adverbs. All these are very, very useful. So the stronger your vocabulary, the better your writing. So if I use words like impeccable, so his shirt was impeccably ironed. That means not a little crease anywhere. Impeccable. It's a nice word. The monster was combative. If I say combative means he was ready to fight, isn't it? So combative, a combat is a fight. Besmirched. His character was besmirched, means there was a lot of flaws in his character, or because of this scandal, everybody started looking at him as a person with not very good character. It was besmirched by the scandal. So if you use words again like this, now you know what, when I'm telling you this, you say, my God, I don't know many of these words. You know what? Read that paper and you will get them. It'll come here and there. When you read a storybook, even if you read a part of a storybook, or take short stories if you don't feel like reading long stories, look at the words that they have used. Read it for a short while, ask what can this word be, and a lot of words you must guess first. Don't run to the dictionary. Guess the word. Suppose I say it is lamentable that your uncle succumbed to COVID. Suppose I use this. You know what I mean, don't you? Even if you don't know the word lamentable, even if you don't know the word succumbed, if I say uncle and COVID and I say sad, you know how to put those three together and say, oh, it means I'm very sad that your uncle got COVID. Now, if I say, oh, I'm very sad your uncle got COVID, it's boring. If I say it's lamentable that your uncle succumbed to COVID, it sounds fantastic. This is what you should do. You should start putting better words in place of boring ones. Abstract nouns, if you use insurgency, abomination, imperviousness, predicament, you use strong abstract nouns, very good. Similes, the smile spread on his face like warm butter on toast. See, it's got similes. It's a beautiful, beautiful simile like this. The smile was like the spreading of warm butter on toast. Very nice, very warm, very happy simile. If I say the rash of shanty towns across the pockmarked face of the city, what am I using now? I'm saying the rash of towns on the pockmarked face. So pockmark, rash, what are these? These are all diseases. These are all illnesses. So I'm saying that the towns look like, as if they were, the town was like small houses, and if you looked at it from far away, you would think that they are pock marks on the city. So I've created a metaphor. So that's beautiful. Rigorous verbs, if I say it, the mountain loomed, the man trudged, the monster fell into the river, it ricocheted against the mountains. Her laughter reverberated. All these are strong words, very, very nice words to use. Take about 4 or 5 words, look at it, play with it, make sentences with it, and keep it with you. The more you use it, the better it will become. You know, words are like strangers first. So some of these words will be strangers. Slowly you have to make them your acquaintances. How do you do that? By looking at them once in a way, by using them once in a way, then they become like hi, hello kind of acquaintances. Then you start using them in your conversation. Then they become friends. And then they become family. Then you don't even have to think about them. It will just download into your brain. The minute you're writing, those words will fall into your brain, and your pen will write it. Now they have become family, your own people. So it's a journey. You will not just by looking at it get it like that. You need to take 3 or 4 words and slowly work with it every day. Do that. Because words are powerful. Words are power. Tomorrow you go to work somewhere, your language will hold you out. You talk well, you write well. Nobody will deny you any promotions. Nobody will deny you any rewards. Don't waste your time when you are in the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. Do not waste your time because you won't get it back. Once you go into the workplace, finished. Then it's all what you bring to the table. After that, saying, oh, I want to repair myself, I want to correct myself, you won't get time. Okay? So remember this. And then you have adverb power. So if you, like how we saw patiently, impatiently, if you just put an adverb there, it makes all the difference. So if I say I was extraordinarily happy, it's a nice word, nice adverb to use. And it tells you that I was very, 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 you can't say I was very, 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 very happy. I was extraordinarily happy. It's good. If I say I was astonishingly happy, it's also good. Astonishing, people were surprised. Wow, she's so happy. If I say I was obviously happy, then it means, well, everyone could see that. Nothing big, but like obviously, if I get a good computer from my dad as a gift, I'll be obviously happy. But I can also say astonishingly, extraordinarily. I can use some of those adjectives and make you understand how happy I was. I can also tell you how sad I was. So therefore, adverbs are very, very useful. There are a lot of genres in English. I hope you have learned them from your teachers. There's description, there's storytelling or narrative. There are imaginary stories like your ghost stories and science fiction. And then there are discussions that you should have and reporting. When you make a report on an animal or you report your fun fair or you report any kind of event, like you might make an event on this Purple Stone event, that's a report. You'll have the argumentative genre. Everybody loves to argue, isn't it? Even small children argue. Now, in an argument, what you want to do is basically you want to, in an argument, you want to win. That's the most important thing of an argument, is I want to win. It doesn't, if I can say something that is not very true and get away with it, if you don't catch me, then I win. In a discussion, you can't do that. You have to put your facts down. If I'm persuading you, I don't want to win, but I want you to do what I'm telling you. That's the difference between these genres. I just want you to do what you're telling me. So if I'm advertising a soap, I want you to buy the soap. Even if you don't believe so much, it doesn't matter. As long as you buy, I'm happy. So that's what persuasion does. It makes people buy ideas or buy things. And then you have an explanation and a procedural genre where you do recipes and things. So these are your various genres. In the book, I have done definitions and features and structure of how to write, examples from famous writers, word lists. All of these are available for each of these genres. Let's look at strategies in ideation, because that's a very important thing. Now, when you ideate, guys, you take any idea. Let's take poverty, for example. And if I'm going to think about, I need to think about ideas for poverty. The teacher tells me to write on poverty, or the teacher tells me to write on women's empowerment, or she tells me to write on even COVID. I need to have a lot of ideas. So first you need to do what is called a mind map and put all your ideas down. Don't start writing straight away, because then you will, in the middle of the essay, you won't know what to write. This is what will happen to you. So therefore, put your mind map down. And this is what you look for. So you take the coordinates: time, place, age, gender, relationships. This is what we are saying. So if you look at time, have we ever had a thing like COVID before? Do we have it now? So you're taking a timeline and saying, was it there in the past? Is it there now? Is it likely to be in the future? Poverty, was it there in the past? What is the poverty like now? Is it worse than the past? You're asking these kind of, so you have to do a lot of questioning to get ideas. So you have a place, west and east, village and city, urban and rural? Is poverty the same? Gender, does it affect males and females equally? Maybe women are poorer because not all of them work. Age, young and old and young, how does it affect poverty? Is it equal or is it different? By just thinking this way, you will get 4 ideas which you can put down. You don't have to use all of them, but just put them down and you see how many ideas you get. Otherwise, if you start writing, after writing 3 things, you don't know what to say. You must have had that, isn't it? So this is how it will help you. Subjects, look at history of poverty, geography of poverty, science of poverty, maths of poverty, art of poverty. Have people done work with poverty? Have they shown poverty? Like now, for example, Durga Puja, the social media is full of Durgas, migrant worker Durga. So instead of Durga Mata's statue, they are showing you a migrant worker with 1 child and 2 children, all the children of Durga. They're showing it as migrant workers now. So that's a kind of a protest against poverty. So you will get ideas like that. If you think of art, you'll get this idea, sculpture idea, because you would have seen it somewhere. Life links are politically, why is politics responsible for poverty? What is the economics of poverty? When people don't have money, what happens? They become poorer and poorer. So that's the economics of poverty. Socially, what happens to poverty? Most of the people in the socially disadvantaged place are poor. The Dalits are poor. The tribals are poor. So therefore, you'll start getting ideas. Is religion linked to poverty? Environment linked to poverty? You'll get hundreds of ideas. Sometimes you just ask questions, who, what, when, and you will get a lot of ideas. So this is an ideation set. Okay, that will be very useful for you. Strategies for argument is you should be very confident. When you argue, you don't use words like possible, may, might. Yes, you cannot use, because then the other person will jump on you and win the argument. You must win. That is the most important thing. Whatever you say, there must be confidence. Repetition of words and phrases. Like Martin Luther said, I have a dream, I have a dream. He'll repeat it many times. Obama said, we can, we can, we can. And he won that election. So you will find repetition of words and phrases in arguments. Very, very powerful. Strong adjectives. So they'll use impressive, unthinkable, indisputable, unmatched, extraordinary, strong. You can't say nice, bad, good, sad. You can't do that. Rhetorical questions. Rhetorical questions don't need an answer. Do we want our kids to suffer? Do we all have to now get COVID? Should we not have our children educated? If you ask these questions, you are actually not expecting an answer. Everybody knows the answer. But those questions are very powerful because it stops you and makes you think, oops, no, certainly I don't want that. So then they come onto your side. That's what a rhetorical question does. You create consensus. You include everyone. Suppose you say, don't we all know? I'm sure everyone here agrees with me. If you say things like that, you are creating consensus. You're taking the whole group and you're saying, I know you agree with me. That's a strategy. Emotional language, tears, sweat, blood that our soldiers have shed. Shall we let it go in waste? If you talk like this is the talk that the the speech maker gives you. It's an argument. Rational arguments, figures, statistics. Do you know that 190,000 people were killed in that avalanche? So I give you numbers. Numbers are very, very scary. Suppose I say, how can you say that we are doing well? Do you know that India will soon be hitting 80 lakh COVID cases? Then it becomes, you can't fight with me because I'm giving you numbers. So that's also good. And then appeal to authority. Doctors say, scientists say. You cannot argue then because I'm quoting authority. And linguistic devices is alliteration, metaphors, analogies. All of these are used in arguments. So this is your requirements of your argument. If you know this, you can write an argument anywhere, but you must know these strategies. The book has strategies for everything. If you don't have strategies, you can't work. You know what I'm saying? You'll just Just giving you a lot of pretty things to write about will not help you. You should know what to do. You should know how to do it. This is the most important thing. Persuasion is in your advertisement, speeches, letters, dialogues, conversations, vocabulary is there, the register is there. Who are you talking to? Yahi hai right choice, baby. Why is that coming in an English ad? Because the people are Indian. See? Or they might put a filmy song. So writing with these guys is a teacher's labor of love. So I enjoyed writing. I wrote this book first. When I wrote this book, I wrote it for teachers because teachers did not know many things. And then I started selling it to everyone because everyone needs to know, have good words. They need to have strategies. They need to know how to do things. They need to be empowered to win. Okay. So you create a gigantic vocabulary. It will show you how to do poetry appreciation, analyze a book, make notes, summarize, debate to win, make a speech, write an effective speech, write a discussion, a variety of letters, and writer's craft. So you will get plenty of stuff in that, complete with definitions, strategies, exemplars, and target word lists. That's what it does. So I enjoyed writing this book and I'd love to share it with children. The magic of words, I've got a task for you, which your people who are running it will give it to you. I believe you have a task and you do it, and then afterwards you get a prize. So this might be something that after all the talk that I've done, let's see how you fare with this, okay? And writing with these guys, own the book, buy it. It's available on Amazon, Flipkart, it's available on our website. Don't beg, don't borrow, don't steal, and don't take small handouts from teachers. Otherwise, your teachers will buy that book and give you small parts of the book. They'll photocopy and give you. Own the whole book so that you always have it. You will use this even as an adult. It's not something that's meant for small children or for children in 9th or children in 12th. It's meant for adults. It's meant for everyone. So do not take small bits from this book because that's what will happen to you. Buy it so that you have it as a reference all the time. Okay, and you get all the words that you need in small little baskets. Otherwise, you have to go to a thesaurus and search for it, and that will be a problem. So there are other books on our website. There's Empowering English, Language with Ease. Those are series, Grammar with Ease, and the Magic Box, which is a pre-primary series. So those are the books that I've written and are available to children and to teachers. You can follow me on the Mindsprings English Teacher, which is my YouTube video channel. I've got a huge number of grammar videos where I actually teach you stuff for the maybe 20-30 minutes on writing, on a whole bunch of vocabulary. So the Mindsprings English Teacher on YouTube and on Facebook, where I write a lot of political stuff. Not perhaps you don't really need to go to Facebook as children, but you definitely go to YouTube to the Mindsprings English Teacher, because that's a very, very useful grammar and writing channel where I actually teach. Okay, so that's me, and we come to the end. I'm going to stop share so that I can see all of you and maybe talk to you and take some questions. So I enjoyed doing that for you. I hope you did too, and I hope nobody slept. So I hope I've not done too badly on time. I think I've got 15 minutes to take your questions because the time I was given was 10:30 to 11:30. So I finished at 11:15. So I've got 15 minutes. That's a lot of time.
Ma'am, we have one question by Parth Gupta, and he asks, which word will use if I want to describe a bird or anyone falling from the sky into water?
Plunge, dive.
Okay.
Isn't it? You plunge into the water. So what happened to Icarus? When he was flying and his wings melted, he plunged into the water. You can even say plummet, but plummet is okay. You can use actually. So there's no one word that you can use. Depending on the kind of word that you use, the flavor of what you are saying will change. Suppose I say I crashed into the sea. That's also good. It shows you a certain force, no, of the crash. It's very different from plunging, and it's very different from diving. So you can be adventurous and you can write words that that will mean different things and add different kinds of flavor to your writing. So I would, yes, you can use many words. In fact, use different words and see what they sound like. Enjoy, play with words. Yeah.
So, Usha ma'am, I have a question for you.
Sure.
I was curious and I wanted to know, how did you become an author? How did you decide that you wanted to write books on English language?
I think I became an author by accident, basically, because I have always written my books because I felt a need as a teacher. And then I felt a need as a consultant to schools. Then I felt a need as when I started looking at the way teachers work, I started finding that, where the problems were. So the last time after working for several years, I found that the problems were in the pre-primary. You found that if the foundation is not okay, if children cannot speak, if children don't have a whole lot of wonderful exposure, which they are completely capable of, that small child is a wonder, then you will not make it, because you have already come up to grade 1 or 2 with broken English. After that, it goes into damage control. So then I have gone into making pre-primary books, which I really didn't need to do, but it's all need-based. So when I wrote Writing with Ease, I found that the teachers did not know many things. So if I said something like subliminal, they don't know. If I say something like, even in those days, when I said genre also, they wouldn't know what it was. So then I felt I needed to write a book for them. Or not a book, I needed to write a pamphlet for them to teach them. But Writing with Ease just grew into an amazing book. Yes. I had a niece who used to help me with this, and she would not let me throw anything out. So if I said, no, we'll cut this, it's already 100 pages, she would say, please, Usha auntie, no, don't throw it out. So like this, that book grew to become 360 pages. And we never threw anything out. So that's how that book was made. And then, of course, I wrote Empowering English. In fact, Writing with Ease was written to explain items in Empowering English. Empowering English I wrote because I worked several years abroad. So when I came back, I realized that the kind of English that we were teaching, and we still are teaching, mind you. Yes. I'm not saying that we were teaching means everything is okay now. It's not, unfortunately. So what we are doing here is very superficial. So I decided to write Empowering English so that English becomes a skills-based subject, which it is, as opposed to the kind of content-based subject that we have made it. So you ask question answers on the chapter, you ask meanings on the chapter. So it becomes like geography. What's the difference? English is all about skills. Yes. So that's how the books were made.
I can relate to it. I can agree to it, considering my experience with teachers in schools. And I know
you're not very audible. You need to speak louder.
Is it audible now?
Yeah.
So I can relate to it. I can understand what you're trying to do. And your book currently for us is a Bible actually for English.
Thank you.
So ma'am, there is a very interesting question from one of our students, Shirja Katipalli. And she says that, does good diction make wrong thing right in an argument?
Say that again.
Does good diction in English make a wrong thing right in an argument?
When you say diction, I hope you mean the choice of words in writing and not diction as in speech. I hope that's what she means. So does it make there's no such, in an argument, there's no right and wrong. In an argument, there's only win and lose. Okay. So if you say something, if you use a particular word and your opposition does not pick it up, does not correct you, is not capable of refuting what you have said, you go simply forge ahead and win.
That's true.
Argument is just that. Argument is how smart you are to win. Argument has got nothing to do with, so I can give you a topic like smoking is a good thing, you know. So obviously people who are going to judge that will say, oh, what a terrible topic. How can they win with a topic like smoking is a good thing or smoking is not a bad thing? Clearly they're going to lose, but not so. Depending on how those guys argue, they will win that argument if the other side does not have enough arguments.
So I'm sure, Shirja, do you have any more questions? And you must have understood that diction has nothing to do in an argument. It's about the vocabulary, what you use, and what you're arguing
It's about how powerful your argument is.
How powerful. And ma'am, there's one more question from Sushmita Solanki about what are your ideas on survival of the fittest?
My ideas of survival of the fittest, survival of the fittest needs a context, isn't it? So you can use any now if you give me an examination paper with survival of the fittest as the topic, if only that is given, then I have the advantage of using it in any way that I like. So I can either agree or I can disagree in an argument. So I can say, yes, survival of the fittest is a good thing. And then I can talk to you about how the entire evolution is a statement of survival of the fittest. Or I can say survival of fittest is a terrible thing, and that is uncivilized and dehumanizing. And most of the wars of the world, in fact, the near annihilation of the world has come about because we have espoused this philosophy of survival of the fittest. I can say that. So I can take it this way, I can take it that way. So there's no what I think, it's what I will argue with you, on which side I argue. But if any side that I argue, I need to put forth excellent evidence. So whether I'm saying this or whether I'm saying that, I will have to find historic examples, I'll have to find social examples, I'll have to find political examples in order to prove to you that it is indeed what I'm saying. Okay.
Ma'am, there's one last question we will take, students, because in the interest of time. So there's one question about how did you, one of the students, Mansi Jain, about how did you get to know about all these interesting words and alternative to those words? How did you learn this vocabulary?
That's what I'm telling you. You have to read, isn't it? So you won't get it just like that. You have to read it and then you have to use it. You have to listen to a lot of English. So the other thing that you need to do is listening to a lot of English. So stop seeing your Telugu movies or Hindi movies and all that and start listening to very good. You get a lot of wonderful stuff on YouTube. So for example, there are TED Talks and there are TED videos. There are TED videos on almost all kinds of things, including things like mythological stories. The language that they use in those videos are absolutely stunning. Just the language. So stories themselves are very simple. They might be talking to you about King Midas, or they might be talking to you about Medusa. They're not stories that are hard, or they're not even stories that you don't know. But the narrative in those stories are exceptional. So now those are the kind of things that you need to listen to very mindfully and actually write it down, some of those words and some of those phrases, and actually use it in your own writing and in your speech. So the more you hear, the better you will be. So if you go to the Mindsprings English channel, I've done a video in Hindi actually for a lot of Hindi speakers on 10 ways to improve your English. There's a huge number of vocabulary videos. So if you look at those videos, you will see how I've given you advice on what to do. So like this listening and speaking and reading aloud and all of these things are a part of building your vocabulary. And you will get fluent. So what you're seeing in me is not so much vocabulary. Lots of people have vocabulary. People don't have fluency. Fluency means when I talk, I'm not going, I'm not thinking, yes, I'm not, like that's what people can't do. People can't speak fluently. They can't speak fluently. And the more you speak fluently, the more you speak rather, the better you become. So it's a matter of accumulated habit. Everything is a matter of accumulated habit. It's got nothing to do with somebody being smarter or greater or anything like that. It's what Malcolm Gladwell calls the 10,000 hour rule. So he wrote a book called Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell. So what he did was, he talks about the 10,000 hour rule. So if you look at all the talented people around you, whether they are musicians or dancers or sculptors or whatever, their passion is so huge that when they wake up, that's the first thing they want to do. And they're actually resentful of sleep because they have to leave it and go to sleep. So there is a obsession with which they work. Now, if you work like that, obviously you're putting in 10,000 hours or 20,000 hours of work, which is far, far, far more than what anybody else has put in. So if I'm speaking for 10,000 hours, 20,000 hours, you are speaking for 10 hours or 16 hours, then obviously just the practice makes me higher, much higher. And almost unreachable sometimes.
Before we let you go, one last question, which has come from Vaidehi, and that is, who is your favorite author?
My favorite author, I don't know whether I can take one author. So my subject was literature. So obviously I have read everybody, a lot of classics, that is. Everyone from Shakespeare to Keats to to Khalil Gibran. I've read all those, and those are very hard to pick one. But I think what you need to do is, when you read, you need to read critically. So for everything here, what will happen is, you need to have people who will, your teachers who will need to train you, teachers who will need to know themselves how to read critically. So when I'm not a huge reader, okay? So there are people who read voraciously. They read, they've read every book. I can't read now because I just don't have the time to read storybooks or even novels. So my reading is limited to maybe people on social media or on newspapers, or things that are related to work. So my reading is pretty narrow. Why am I asking you to read the newspaper and not a storybook? Because the variety in a newspaper is massive. You will not get it by reading the latest storybook or latest Harry Potter. But as you're growing up, you can read the Harry Potter. So as a child, I've read all the Enid Blytons, for example, because in my days, there was only Enid Blyton. And then I must have gone on to a writer called James Hadley Chase, whom
Usha,
I think I took everything.
I'm so sorry to interrupt you, because we have another sessions planned. And
Sure. Don't worry.
In the interest of time,
Thanks for telling me.
Sorry to cut you off like that, but
Not
I'm sure the students have understood what you're trying to tell them.
I'm sure they have. Yeah.
We have loved your session, and
thank you.
Loved the way you have explained us about English, about how to develop it. So
Thank
students
you.
from all of us and from here as well, it's a big virtual clap for Usha ma'am.
Thank you very much.
So
thank you guys. Thank you and good luck. Okay, see
Thank you so much. Students, I request you that if you have opted for Coding Chronicles, which is our next session, you please wait in the meeting, else you can take yourselves out of the meeting, because there are other students who will be entering the meeting for our next session, which is Coding Chronicles with Kriya.
So shall I leave?
Yes, Usha ma'am.
Thank you
so much, and
thank you.
See you soon.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, so students, we have Mr. Mohan from Kriya Learning with us. Mr. Mohan, you can unmute and we can start the session. I'll just...
Yeah. Hello everyone. Nice to see you all here. My name is Mohan. Thank you so much, Shubha ma'am, for your introduction. So, yes.
So, Mr. Mohan, before you begin the session, there are students who are still entering the session. So let's give them a minute or two. And in the
Sure.
meantime, let me talk a little bit about you.
Sure.
Is that okay,
Thank you.
Mr. Mohan?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Sure.
So children, let's now understand Mr. Mohan's profile. So Mr. Mohan is an educator and STEM enthusiast with over 6 years of experience working closely with international experts, policymakers, and school leaders, educators, and students across the globe. He graduated in electrical and electronics engineering from Shastra University, and he was a student leader at the fourth Indian Student Parliament held at MIT School of Government, Pune. He is currently senior product developer at Kriya Learning and developing hands-on STEM curriculum from KG to 12th students. He has incorporated project-based learning, design thinking, and 21st century skill development. He earlier held positions as implementation lead and program manager at Kriya Learning. He was leading the implementation of the Kriya Experiential Learning Program across the country as well. He is also the delegate speaker at UNESCO MGIP, Transforming Education Conference for Humanity for the years 2017 and 18. So that's a very impressive profile of Mr. Mohan. Mr. Mohan, I am thankful and we are happy that we have you here today for this. And now
Thank
I
you.
hand over the session to you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Hello everyone again. I hope many of you have joined now. A big high five to all of you, a virtual high five before we begin the session. So, uh, so now we'll see what we'll be learning in this session. That was a very interesting session in the previous session which we had. That was a very interesting session. Even I have learned a lot. So thank you so much, Usha ma'am. I think ma'am is not there, but please send my thanks to her. So can I start sharing my screen? Okay. So hope my screen is visible. Yes. Okay, welcome to the session on Coding Chronicles. In this session, we will learn how to tell stories using a different medium. So now we have learned how to tell your story using the words and the letters using English language, right? So in this session, we will learn how to tell stories using a coding platform, which is called as Tinker. So using that platform, we learn how to tell our stories. Okay. So before we get into the Tinker platform, we'll first understand what do we need in this 21st century. Yeah. So there are certain skills which we require in our 21st century. One is the thinking skill, the other is the digital skill, and the other is the life skill. Yes. So since this is a literature fest, we the most important skills which we need will be the creative thinking, communication, and the coding skills. Okay. So how to merge the technology and your like your imagination and your the way of telling stories. So using technology platforms will be the topic.
Mohan, so sorry to interrupt you. Can you disable participants annotation? Because I think some students are writing on the screen.
Okay.
So sorry to interrupt you, sir.
Yes. No problem. Yeah, I have done that. Yeah. So yeah, I am talking about the skills, and so how do we need to use that skills using the technology platform? So what is the role of storytelling? So why do we need storytelling in 21st century? So whatever profession you take, you might be a like author, doctor, lawyer, engineer. So whatever profession you take, you definitely need a story. You need to make your point. So the first thing, you'll be sharing a problem. So whatever problem you might solve for the user, so you'll be sharing the problem. So one mode of sharing your problem will be telling through a form of story, then we also have to inspire using our business. So let's suppose we have created a wonderful product. So how do you inspire? Like, have you seen how Apple inspires us using the technology, and how they explain the business and they inspire us to get the product hands on? So how do you inspire? So that's the important role of storytelling and literacy skills. And then you should also show how you're different, like using the skill of storytelling and the literacy skills, you'll also tell the world how you're different from others. And then once you have acquired the customer, and how do you celebrate the customer? So you see, there are many videos of premium car companies like BMW and Mercedes. They celebrate each customer they acquire. So how do they do that? They tell in a form of a story. So this is something which, so these are the skills which you'll be needing wherever, whatever profession you take up, and wherever you are. So that's the huge role of storytelling and the literacy skills in 21st century. So now let's watch a very short video on about you and me. Like so we can relate a lot of characters in this story. So we'll be watching this video, maybe some 4 minutes video. So after that, we'll continue our discussion.
So, Mr. Mohan,
Yes.
is this a muted film? Because there are questions from students.
Sure.
Was this a muted film or was there a sound?
No, there is sound. Isn't it like audible?
So you have to also switch on your computer audio along with the video audio. Then only the students will be able to hear. If you check your system, you have to also switch on from Zoom. You have to click on computer audio also.
Okay. Yeah.
Can we see it once again, sir?
Now is it audible?
Yes, we can hear now.
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't check that option. So now, shall we watch it from the beginning so that it will be clear? Okay.
How long is it, sir?
It's 4 minutes.
Yes, we can watch it again. No problem.
It was a warm spring morning down at the Main Street schoolyard. Excitement was in the air. "Hey, check this out," said Charlie. "The school's Going Places contest has been announced. Come on, let's go get our kits." And so the kits were handed out. Everyone identical. Everyone with a set of precise instructions. Each student set off to work. Charlie knew how to follow directions. He made great progress and was quite proud of his work. Meanwhile, Maya was taking her time. She watched the world around her, noticing other ways things go places. The next morning, Charlie was finished and carefully inspected his work. But a noise interrupted his thoughts. "Wow," said Charlie. "What is that? You didn't follow the directions, did you?" "I started to," said Maya, "but I wanted to try something different." Maya, what does that have to do with a go-kart?" asked Charlie. "Who said it has to be a go-kart?" Suddenly, my project doesn't look very exciting." "Oh, but you're a great builder," said Maya. "Hey, maybe we should work together." And so they did. First, they compared notes. Charlie was good at details. Maya, good at dreaming up ideas. Each had a different approach to getting things done. Then they got to work. Side by side, they helped one another to build something new, something inspired, something spectacular. The next morning, everyone gathered for the final challenge, the big race. Each student stood alongside his or her finished project, each cart a perfect replica. Well, almost perfect. "Ready?" asked Charlie. "Ready as I'll ever be," said Maya. Some of the other students weren't so convinced. "Ha! You may think you're going places, but you're just going to lose."
Students, start your engines. On your mark. Get set.
Charlie shouted. "Maya, they're all ahead of us. What are we waiting for?" "No worries," said Maya. "Flaps down, throttle up." What? Whoa, did you see that? And we have our winner. Charlie and Maya were ecstatic. "We did it. We finished," said Charlie. "Finished? I don't think so. We've only just begun." "Right. Flaps down, throttle up." And off they went. They really were going places. They were going above and beyond.
Hope you all enjoyed the video. So now I think I should stop the computer sound. Shubha ma'am. Or am I audible?
You're audible, sir. You
Yes,
need
sir.
not mute your computer audio.
Okay, okay. So, so that's. I hope you all enjoyed the video. So I'm sure we all have many Mayas and Charlies here. I was one Charlie, and long back when I was a kid. I think now also I'm the same. So we have watched this video. So this is one way of communicating, telling an interesting and a powerful story using animation, right? So there has been a lot of coding involved behind making this video and making this animation. So now I'll take you through the world of code, like how can you code your own chronicle. Okay. So now in this project, we'll code a very small scene from any movie. Like we can use that scene in any movie. So the scene will be where you'll be, there will be a cannon. I hope you all know a cannon. A cannon will be shooting. Let's suppose it's a war scene, maybe a movie like Bahubali, and when you're animating the movie, and then you have a scene where there should be a cannon which is shooting the barrels. Yeah. So the cannons which comes out from the barrel, right? So we'll be watching these set of videos, and I'll take you through that tool where you'll be learning how to create such animations. Okay. So.
We
So,
can't. Sir. Yeah.
Yeah. So is my screen visible now?
Yes. Yes, it is visible.
Perfect. Thank you. So first, to begin with this project. So this project, this tool which we use, like I've said in the introduction, it's called Tinker. So Tinker is used to code and they animate. So you have certain animations and you can code your animations. So to begin with, we'll open our so we'll be opening the browser, and then we'll be entering tinker.com in the browser. So that's the website. So once we click on the browser, then we'll be so once the Tinker website is open, you'll be signing in. So using your credentials. So you can use any credentials and you can sign in. Okay. So you will be selecting the option students to sign in. So once you complete entering your username and the password, so you'll be taken to a dashboard. So this is what we call a dashboard. So so this is how a dashboard of Tinker looks like. So this is the whole dashboard. So if you see, there are a lot of options for you to create projects, right? So now let's explore each option and how to animate the scenes. Okay. So now first let's create a new project. Since we're creating a new project, so we'll be creating, clicking on create new project option. So once there, then we'll be selecting block coding templates. We'll be coding using blocky coding. So we'll be clicking on that. Then we'll click on blank coding project. So because we want to start the project from the scratch, it will be a blank coding template which will be there. So then if you see, there is already like the new project is opened, and there is also a prefixed code which is already there. Yes. So now we'll be so this is the code area where you will be actually coding using the Tinker. So this is the code area, and this is the command area. So in the command area, you'll have all the commands which you want, which you'll be using for your, which you'll be using to code your animation. So now we also have various categories like control, operators, motion, etc. So now let's see, for example, in looks tab, what is there in the looks tab. So we have different costumes, like for the animation, for the actor and the animation, we have different costumes and different functions inside this tab. So So now we also have a help section where we can click on the help section, and we'll also learn about many options. Let's suppose you can enter a comment in the search box. Let's suppose say. So when you enter the comment say in the search box, you'll get all the options related to that, and you'll also have the description of each comment. So what is the command used for? So that's the purpose of the help section. So you can understand, you can read each command using the help section on this website. So to maximize, so this is called the stage area. To maximize the stage area, we'll click on the maximize option, and so this is where the animation comes to life. Whatever animation you put in, so this comes to life here. So then you can also click back again to minimize it. So this is the actors window. You'll have different actors, right? So like in a movie, how you have different actors, in animation also you'll be having different actor. Each thing which we add in a animation is called as an actor. So each actor in animation, the most crucial part is coding each actor. So unless and until you tell the computer what to do, it cannot function, right? So you have to give instructions to each actor. So that's where you can see all the actors on the stage here. So wherever you want to code. So now, first you have to delete the existing actor, because in our movie the actor is the cannon barrel, right? So we don't want this cat to be here, or the monster which is there on the screen. So we'll be deleting that monster. So to delete, we'll click on that options and then click on delete, so that we can delete the character, and then click on S when it is prompted. So now everything is clear, right? So now we'll start our coding. So to start our coding, first you'll start coding the stage. Like I've said, stage is the background. The background of the screen is the stage. So now first we will add a background to the stage, and then we'll code the stage. Yes. So to do that, now first I'm going to add a background. So to add a background, I'll be clicking on add background. So then when I click on add background, then the Tinker takes me to a media library where I'll have different backgrounds to choose from. So now for like I'll be choosing a spooky background. So you can change background. You can change. There are n number of backgrounds which are available here. I'll be entering like spooky, and then I'll be clicking on spooky graveyard, where this will be our background for the whole animation which we'll be doing. Then we can click on close. So to have our background. So now if you see, there is a background which is added. So there is a background which is there on the stage. So now we have to add gravity. So whatever the cannons and whatever the cannon balls which come from the cannon barrel, that has to move around the screen, right? So we have to disable the gravity. What happens if there is gravity? I think you have learned in physics. If there is gravity, whatever we add will just fall on the ground, right? The gravity pulls the object. But we want the balls to pop up and move around the stage. So now we'll be adding the set gravity command to the stage. When we set gravity command to the stage, it adds, it removes the gravity from the stage, and it makes sure that your cannons are bouncing. So now we'll start coding our stage. So first we'll use the onStart command. onStart is like start. You know, you tell the program to start. So we'll use the onStart command, and then we'll go to the physics. Like I've said, we'll be disabling the gravity, right? So so to have that, we'll be going to gravity, the physics, and then we'll start physics. So we'll tell that on the stage, you have to start physics command. So then we'll be adding that. So so this enables the physics engines, because it is, so like I've told, it runs the gravity and the forces and the collisions. So it enables that. So then we'll now use the set gravity command. So so we'll be coding the stage. So now we are coding the background. So if you see here, stage is visible, right? So it means that you're coding this stage. So when we keep on adding actors, we'll also code each actor. So now we are coding the stage. So now set gravity command sets the gravity to the stage. So now it's important to save our animation. So now we have coded the stage part. So now we'll be clicking on save. So once we click on save, the project will be saved. You can give any name. So we'll be giving it as Cannon Blast because we'll be having all the cannons coming from the barrel. So you can also add description here. That's optional. So then you can click on save. Yeah. So the next step, then we'll add an actor, like I've said. So now in a movie, our background is completed. So now for our animation, the background is completed. Now we'll be adding actors. So the first actor we'll see. So now we'll click on add actor on Tinker. So we have an option for add actor. So then we'll be clicking on media library. So in media library, like we have backgrounds, we also have different images. So we'll go to adventure. We need the Canon base, right? So we'll search for the Canon base in adventure. So now we'll scroll down and search for the Canon base. So here is the Canon base. We'll be adding Canon base to the as an actor in this stage. So now if you see the Canon base is added here. Below the stage, there is the Canon base. So now if you see on this stage here also you can check it is at the center. So now we need to have this Canon base somewhere here, like somewhere at the bottom, right? So then we have to change the coordinates. Let's see how to do that. So we'll be clicking on the arrow next to the Canon base here. So once we click that arrow, from now on we'll be calling it as the properties, actor properties. So I hope you all know the coordinates, the x-axis, y-axis, and the z-axis, the coordinate geometry which you might have learned. So it's nothing; it's very simple. The x-axis determines the length, and the y-axis determines the breadth. Okay. So whenever we change the axis, so if we can change the axis in such a way that the Canon base is at the corner of the screen. So now let's see how we'll change the axis. So we can just enter the axis and also the y-axis. So now if you see it's at the corner, but it's huge, right? So now we need to scale down the actor. To scale down the actor, we'll reduce the size to 50. So now the Canon base is at 50. Okay, so now the size has reduced. Now you can close the actor properties. Yes. So once you have done, in the next step, we'll see what we'll be adding. We'll be adding. So now we have to code the Canon base, right? So now we'll be adding the code. In the previous step, you have seen we have added stage, we have coded the stage. Now we'll be adding the actor, we'll be coding the actor. So we'll see how we'll code the actor. So again, to start the program, we'll be clicking on start. So that will be the first command for any Tinker program. Then we'll be clicking on looks. So in the looks, if you then you can find the go to front command. So the purpose of go to front is what happens usually you have this character, you have this Canon base on the stage, right? When you actually start the animation, sometimes it might go behind the stage. So to have it in front of the stage, then we'll be adding the go to front command on Tinker. So now we'll be adding go to front. So like I've said, go to front adds it makes the actor to be on the top of the screen. So now we'll be setting static command. I'll tell you what is the purpose of the static command. So now we'll change the statement to true. So what happens is we have set gravity to the stage, right? So what I've told, whenever we set the gravity, all the objects which are added to the stage will be moving here and there. So for us, the Canon base should stand still, right? It will be looking very funny if our Canon base also moves around the screen without standing still. We want our cannon base to still. Then only Bahubali can attack on the enemies, right? Or else the cannon. So Bahubali should also be searching. No, where is my cannon base? So to avoid that, we'll be setting the static as true. So that's the purpose of this static command. So then we'll also set active command. Okay. So this will also make sure that the cannon base is there on the screen and it is not affected by any gravity. So then we'll be saving our program. So now we have coded the cannon base. So now we'll be adding an other actor. So now you can say, right, we have a cannon base. So now we need a cannon barrel, right? The barrel which throws the cannon balls. So now we'll be adding that actor into our background. So now click on again add actor. I think by now you should have understood how to add an actor on Tinker. So we'll be clicking on add actor and then we'll have the media library where. So now again click on adventure and then scroll down to search for the cannon. So if you see you get the cannon. So we'll be adding cannon to the stage. So now if you see the cannon is not there with the cannon base. The cannon barrel is somewhere at the top and the base is somewhere in the bottom. So now we need to bring this cannon barrel to the cannon base. So how do we do that? How did we bring down the cannon base? Yes, by using the coordinates, right? So we have to use the actor properties and change the coordinates so that we bring the cannon barrel to the cannon base. Okay, so we'll see how it's done on Tinker. So first we can change the name here. We'll just change the name to cannon and then click on save. So once we go back, now we'll go to the actor properties, which is the arrow. So now we'll start coding the third actor. So now we'll be clicking on actor properties here and then we'll change the coordinates. We can change the coordinates to bring, if you see here, the barrel is coming down so that we have it on the base, right? Yes. So now if you see the cannon base is with the barrel. So now again, so now we'll start coding. So we'll start with the onStart command. And then we'll search for the static command. So if you remember, we did the same for the cannon base as well. We don't want the cannon base to move here and there. So we also don't want the cannon barrel also to move here and there. So we have added the static command, set static command. So then we'll have the static to true, which enables the barrel to stay in place. Then again, like we have done for the previous actor, we'll do the same thing for this actor as well. We'll again set active command. So now we'll search, we'll learn how to adapt to the changes in the screen. So now the barrel is fixed to the base, right? But the barrel has to move, right? For us, the base is constant, but the barrel will be moving. Wherever you want, you have to hit, right? So the enemy can come from any side. So to move the barrel, now we will be activating our screen. We'll see how to activate that using this code. So we'll use the command when the screen clicked. So when the screen is clicked command. So now we'll drag and drop that onto the code area. So now we want it to be pointed towards the enemy, right? So whenever we click on the screen, the cannon ball should come out. So for that, we'll be using this point towards command. So the point towards command, so we'll be adding to the when screen is clicked. So when we are telling the tinker that whenever we click on screen, the barrel should point towards that direction. That's the command which we are communicating to the screen. So now we are telling the screen to point towards the mouse pointer. So wherever, so now we have coded the stage, we have coded one actor, we have coded the second actor. So now we'll see what happens. Now I'm sure you all must be waiting what will happen. Now we'll see what happens. So now we'll be clicking on play to run our animation. So now you can, when we click anywhere on the screen, the cannon will be moving. If you see, the cannon is moving, right? So whenever I'm clicking on the screen, the cannon is moving in that direction. So now we have successfully coded that. So now we'll minimize to go back. So now we'll add another actor. So now we have the stage, the background, we have the cannon base, we also have the cannon barrel. What is missing? The cannon ball, right? The ball which we have to fire on the enemies, that is missing, right? So now we'll add that actor. So again, go to adventure and then select the cannonball. Yes. So I think by now you must have understood that we'll add each actor, we'll position each actor, and then we'll code each actor in such a way that it moves in the direction which we want to, right? So if that's what we have done. So now we'll also position the cannon ball near the cannon base, because we want the ball to be near the cannon base. So now we'll change the coordinates here in the actor properties. So click on settings. So before changing the directions, what we'll do is, so usually we only get cannonballs out of the cannon barrel, right? So just to add the fun element, we'll also add dynamites. We also add the other kinds of bombs into the cannon, so that whenever you click along with the cannonball, you'll also get different other objects. So let's see how to do that. So now to do that, we'll be adding costume. So costume means the actor will have different, like how you wear different clothes, the human beings wear different clothes, right? So the actor here will have different variations. So to have the different variations, we'll be adding different costumes. So click on add costumes and then click on adventure. Then you can see there is a bomb. So we'll be adding bombs. We'll also add dynamite after that. We'll again click on add costume. So then we'll also add barrel and the dynamite. So now I'm adding dynamite. And we'll also add the barrel. So I hope you understood. So there is an actor cannonball which has different costumes, means which has different variations. So now we have coded for this stage, we have coded for cannon base, cannon barrel. Now we'll be coding for the cannonball, which is our fourth actor. So now, like we have done for the cannon base and the cannon barrel, first we'll change the coordinates. We'll change the coordinates so that our cannonball comes near the cannon base, and then we'll also change the size in such a way that it fits into the cannon base. If you see, the size is now fitting into the cannon base. So now again, to start coding, we'll drag and drop the onStart command, and then here we are adding hide command. So can you guess why we are adding hide command? Yes. So we don't want our cannonball to appear, right? Because the cannonball should be inside the cannon base. Here, technically, since we can't put it inside, so whenever the program starts, we'll code it in such a way that the cannonball is hiding. So the cannonball is not visible to us, but it's there. So for that reason, we'll first hide the actor. Okay. So we'll search for the the hide block, and then we'll be adding the hide. So the hide command will make the actor disappear, right? So then we'll be saving the program. So now we'll be going back to the cannon. So we'll be changing a few program. We'll be changing our program. So now we'll be clicking on control, and then add a loop. So we want to create a clone. So what happens when we create a clone? The cannonball which is there, which has to be appearing multiple times, right? We don't want one cannonball. We have multiple cannonballs. So we'll be creating a clone. So for that, we'll be adding a create clone of command. So if you read this code, it says that whenever the screen is clicked, so when we click this, whenever we click on the screen, it will point the mouse pointer will be pointed towards the direction, and then a clone of a cannonball will be created. So now, if you see, like I've told you, we are creating a clone of cannonball. So that's the reason we are selecting the option cannonball. So, so once the cannon comes out of the barrel, we want certain wait time. We don't want the cannons coming immediately after that. What happens once they come immediately? The one cannonball might hit with the other one, right? So we'll give a short wait time. So to tell the cannonball to wait, we'll be adding the wait command. We don't want it for 1 second. 1 second might be too late, right? So we'll only add it for 0.05 seconds, just that minute gap for the ball to come out. So now we'll go to the cannonball, and then we'll be coding that. So we'll go to
Mohan sir, so sorry to interrupt you. Just a time check. You have another 15 minutes to end the session.
Sure, ma'am. I'll be ending it. Yeah, soon. Thank you. So in the last code, we have given it as we have told the cannonball to clone, right? So now we have to tell the cannonball also to clone itself. So that's why we are again dragging the clone startup. So where the ball will be cloned here also. So now the restitution command will just add that bounciness to the cannonball. So we'll set the restitution to add the bounciness. So we'll search for the set restitution command, and then we'll be adding that. Setting restitution to 1 to have the maximum bounciness. So like if you remember, we also have added 4 costumes, right? So now we want, so first time when the cannonball comes, the next time we want the dynamite to come, next time we want the other costume to come. So we want each costume to, or each item to come at one time. So that's why we are using this command, this switch command, which switches between the costume. So the switch costume changes the costumes, like the 4 costumes which have added, the dynamite, the barrel, and the bomb which have added, right? So, and now we don't want any order. So we want it to come randomly. So we will select the option pick random. Like we have 4 options, right? The dynamite, bomb, the cannonball, and the barrel. So it will tell it to pick randomly. So that's the purpose of adding this pick random. Since we have only 4, we'll change the value to 4. We have only 4 costumes, right? So that's why we are changing the value to 4. So now we'll be adding go to command. We are telling where these all the costumes and other things to go. So now we are adding go to mouse pointer. So we also want the balls to hit, right? So wherever the mouse pointer is, we want the cannon to hit. So this will be going to the cannon. So then we'll be pointing towards. So if you remember, we have added this point towards command even to the cannon. So whenever we add point towards command, so that will be pointing towards certain direction. So we'll be using that command. So now save your animation. So now we want the cannons to be visible after certain time, the balls to be visible after certain time, the cannon balls. So now we will be adding show command. If you remember, we have already added the hide command before, where on start it will be hidden, but after starting, once it comes out of the barrel, it should be visible, right? So for that reason, we'll be adding the show command onto the code area. So now you just need to save your animation. So now we'll see what happens now. Our animation is not yet ready. There are certain changes, but we'll just see what is happening to our animation. So now all are just falling on the ground, right? It's not actually bouncing and hitting. So now we have to make certain changes. Yes, so all the different costumes are coming out. Now if you see, all the bombs, the barrels, and the dynamites which we have added are coming out of the cannon, but they are just falling on the screen, right? So we'll make changes in our code to make sure that the ball also comes out. So now we are going to the cannon base. We are selecting the actor cannon base. Then we are selecting the cannon ball. So now if we see, whenever we add impulse, so impulse is the command which is used to push any object which is added or any actor which is added. So we are using that impulse command to push. And add certain degrees. So this impulse command applies that impulse at a specific magnitude. So the cannonball has to come out of the barrel. If we see in our previous animation when we tested it, it is just coming out, right? So for that, we'll be now we'll make changes to the code. So now we'll be adding the divide block. So now we have added impulse. So now should also add certain distance, because the items are just falling on the screen, right? It's not going to a certain distance. So now we are adding the distance command. So we are telling the actor to go to a certain distance. So now we are adding that command. So we are telling to go to a certain distance with certain impulse. So for now we have completed that. So now we'll change the property.
Mohan sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Mohan sir, is it possible for you to wrap up the session in 2 minutes? We
Yes,
have
ma'am.
participants
It's done. Just 2
like
minutes. It's done.
his coding skills. He's already made an app and he would like to showcase his
Sure.
coding, post which we will take questions from the students which you can answer.
Sure. Yes. I'll be wrapping it up just now. We are almost at the end of this.
Sure, sir, no problem, please.
So now we want it. So we want the barrel to go to at a certain angle, right? So now we are setting that as well. So now we are setting those two commands. So we are clicking on the X position. So now we are telling the cannon to go at a certain angle. So this will be our last step. So now after like we have added wait command, right? So now we need our cannons to wait. So we'll be adding the wait command. So we don't want our cannons to come out immediately. And we don't want it to delay much, so we are just so we want a certain delay, so that's why we are adding the wait command to 10 seconds. And we are also deleting the clones. We have created a clone, right? So now at the end of the animation, we don't want the clone to appear. So once they come out of the cannon barrel, we want it to vanish. We want it to disappear. So that's the reason we are adding delete this clone. So now we'll check what happens. So this will be our final animation. We'll see what happens. Yes. So now if you see, we have different items coming. We have different cannons, barrels, dynamites. So we have everything coming out from the cannon barrel, right? So if you also see, each item vanishes after 10 seconds. Like once I bring the item out of the cannon barrel, so they also vanish. Now, if you see slowly, each item which comes out is vanishing. So that's the animation which we wanted to create today. So this is how you will create animations using the coding. Okay. See, if I have to compare a movie with the animation, it's just that the coding which you write for the animation is like the script for your movie. So whatever script you want, so that's how you'll be writing the code for your animation, like how you write script for your story in a movie. So I think this is what I just wanted to say. This is just a small animation which we create in our Meerkat sessions. So thank you for giving me this wonderful opportunity to share. I'll just stop my screen. Yeah, thank you for the wonderful opportunity given to me. I hope it's a little informative and you all enjoyed the session. I'll just share a link from my end, like if you, like in association, like all thanks to the organizers, like in association with them, we are offering a free session. So you can all 1 hour session for all of you. You can join using this link. So I've just shared that link here.
So you can post the link in the chat box.
Yes, I am just posting that link, ma'am. Yeah.
And also we have received some questions from the students. We will start asking you those questions, sir. But before that, there is a student over here known called Arnav Dujari, and he has already made an app and he would like to showcase that to everyone.
Wow, awesome. Definitely, I would like to see it.
Definitely, sir, your session was really interesting and it sparks a curiosity in animation and coding, actually.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
So Arnav, I hand over it to you now. Arnav, can you unmute yourself?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so Arnav,
Hi,
introduce
Arnav.
yourself to the group.
Hi, I'm Arnav Dujari. My name, I'm in 5th grade and
Wow.
I have learned coding from White Hat Junior. The White Hat Junior platform allows me to learn coding from various paths like Thunkable, Code.org, and many more platforms. And after some classes, they even teach you how to make web pages and then how to make apps with artificial intelligence too.
So Arnav, would you like to share that app right now? And what would you need for that? If it
No, ma'am. I'll just share my screen and I'll share my app, ma'am, with you all if you want.
And can you let us know how much time that would take? Because we have question and answer session with post your
not much, ma'am. It's a translator app only, ma'am.
Okay.
It's just a translator app.
So let me give you permission to share screen then.
Yes, ma'am.
I've given you the permission, Arnav. You can go ahead.
Share. And ma'am, as you can see, I've created many apps. My two best apps are Health app and Translator for Journey. First, I'll see you can see my Translator for Journey app now, because it's you also have to answer the question answers. See, I'm doing live test here. As you can see, swipe left to begin. Ma'am, in this there are 93 languages. Whatever you want to type, you just type and just select here the language, and then you can and then translate it and it will show it here. Invalid.
Type something for us and show us in French.
Ma'am?
Why don't you type something for us?
What should I type, ma'am?
Just type Coding Chronicles with Learning.
Okay, ma'am.
Coding Chronicles.
Coding
Chronicles. With Kriya. With Kriya. Kriya. It's CREYA.
Ma'am?
It is CREYA.
Ma'am? Yes, ma'am.
No problem. You can. Oh, it's already translated into Welsh.
Yes,
Awesome.
ma'am. Ma'am, so which language do you want it to translate it, ma'am?
So what do you think? Which language you would like to see?
Yeah, French, definitely.
French?
There are many languages, ma'am.
Okay, why don't we?
Okay, ma'am.
First? Yes. Okay, it says
So what was the spelling, ma'am?
CREYA.
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 Yes. Wow, nice.
Courage Chronix. Like,
Great,
yeah.
Priya.
Ma'am, can you hear it, ma'am?
Yeah, I can't hear
Can
it.
you hear it?
No, I think you have to put your computer sound on. If you have a sound accompanying the text, you have to put your computer sound.
Ma'am, it's full, ma'am. It's full, ma'am.
No, from the Zoom app you have to do it.
From the
full.
Zoom app you have to do.
Oh, Zoom app. Okay, ma'am.
You have to go to Zoom app.
From where should I do it, ma'am?
Okay, so you will have something called More. On your Zoom app, there are 3 buttons.
Yes, ma'am.
More.
Yes, ma'am. Clicked on it. It's only telling disable video receiving.
Okay, so I guess even I have to research where it is. So it's
okay.
okay
Thank you.
for the
Okay, I
sound,
think-
but at least
yeah.
you know
It's okay, ma'am.
associated with your translation.
And there are even many apps, ma'am. So, ma'am, only if I can even publish this app, ma'am. But for that, I'll need to pay money to others, and then we can even publish our apps, ma'am.
Okay.
Here, there are many apps, even others.
Students,
Ma'am,
can you show a
your
big
voice is breaking.
applause for Arnav?
Great work, Arnav.
Arnav, great work. It is so interesting.
Thank you, ma'am.
You've done this app and it's really helpful. I think you should think about publishing it. What do you say, sir?
Definitely, it should be there. So
Arnav,
it's
in the interest of time, dear, I'm so sorry we cannot talk to you much further because we have other students waiting for their questions to be answered. I'm sure
Yes,
you
ma'am.
understand that, Arnav?
Yes, ma'am.
So Arnav, now I'll disable your screen sharing and we'll now give the session to Sir.
I already stopped it.
Thank you, Arnav. That's so thoughtful of you. And sir, we can now go ahead and answer questions from the participants. Like some of the students want to know how can they make a career in animation?
yes. So thank you for asking. So to begin with, I think it all starts from the roots. So you can start right away. You can start making your career in animation right away by starting. So animation starts with scripting, storyboarding. So we all have that fascination of creating all nice animations, but we also don't know the hard work which goes behind. Like there is a certain process which we should follow to animate or the animation. So to learn all that, to start a career in animation, I think you can start it right now. You can start learning how to storyboard, how to script. We have our digital media sessions in our meerkat.io. You can just log in. I've also shared the form. You can. I've also shared the link. Sorry. So you can click on the link and just log into that session. You can opt for a digital media session, and then we'll also share our thoughts on how to storyboard, how to script. So once you learn storyboarding, scripting, then you can start joining the Tinker sessions. Then you can learn how to code using Tinker. So that's how you can build upon your skills, each skill. So animation as a subject is very diverse. It requires many skills. It's not just coding. It's not just graphic designing. It's not just digital media skills. It's a combination of all the skills. So you have to start from learning the storyboarding, scripting, storytelling, story writing, then you will come to coding, then you'll learn about animation. So there are various phases to build a career in animation, and definitely that's a wonderful career. So whoever wants to opt for, so you can start it right now. So you can just try our projects.
Thank you for answering that question, Mohan sir. Students, are there any other questions you would like to put it in the chat box? If not, then let me remind you that we have the next Kriya sessions on Monday, again at 11 to 11:30 to 12:30 for the grades 6, 7, and 8. And then we have the next session of Kriya on Wednesday for grades 4 to 5. So don't forget to tune in for those chronicles as well. So I don't see any more questions coming up, Mohan sir. So thank you very much for your time. And it
Thank
was
you so much.
amazing to see that short film and really got us interested in finding out and, learn something about animation. So
Yes.
I hope the students have
Pleasure.
enjoyed as well in the same manner. Let's give a big round of virtual applause to Mohan sir, students.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And he has shared links, the Google Form links. So please go ahead and look into it, explore your options, and go ahead and start coding.
Yeah. So I've also shared the meerkats.io. That's the website. So if you want to just visit, sorry, I'm just sharing it again. Meerkats, MERKATS.io. So it's MERKATS.io.
For all the Google Forms and link to all these websites. So go ahead,
Thank you.
explore your options, and I wish you all the best in coding.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
very much for your time, sir. And I will see you
Thank you,
again
ma'am.
on Monday, Mohan sir.
Definitely. Definitely. Yes, ma'am. Yes, I'll be there on Monday. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll see you back on Monday then at 11:30 to 12:30 for grade 6, 7, and 8.
Yes.
Thank you, students. And Purple Stones is signing off for today. I hope you enjoyed both the sessions. We'll come back to you tomorrow with our next session from Christopher C. Doyle. It's about hidden secrets, ancient mysteries, a quest for the truth. So tune in back again at 10:30 tomorrow for the session. We have one session only for tomorrow, and we'll see you then. So have a good day and
Thank you.
keep coding.
Thank you so much.